Cross Creek. I've been a member here for quite some time, so I should be able to help you out with some tidbits of information on how to play this course. It has a nice little clubhouse with a putting green right behind it. You could chip around it, very small chipping area, but the range has both grass and mats, so it should be enough for you to have a good warm-up. Hole 1 starts with an interesting tee shot. It's all about the tee shot on this one. You're hitting through a chute of these trees there, so it's going to seem a bit claustrophobic, but you're going to definitely want to hit to the left side, aim to the left side of this fairway. Ideally a draw, so you can play away from those trees on the right, because if you fade it and you get to that right side, it's a very, very difficult and high shot. You're going to have to hit a really, really high cut to get around to that green that's tucked way back over there to the right as it's coming up here. So you definitely want to favor the left side. 240 off the blues to the left is just fine. Then you're left with a short iron into this green, but favor the short left or middle left of the green. You just don't want to overcut it. Hole 2 tends to give a lot of people fits just because this tee shot, again, it's through a chute, but it's a little bit of longer carry because there's a little berm, creek area coming right in between there. So you got to hit a pretty good poke out there, but you overdraw it. You have that bunker on the left, so there's a little bit more room on the right side. So from the blues is only about a 240-yard shot again, but the trick for this particular hole is this green. The approach shot, always favor to the front center of this green. Even if the pin is to the left or to the right, aim to the center. This is more of a concave green, so you don't want to overcut it or overdraw it. Cross Creek is known for its par 3s and its serene surroundings with no homes around it, but this par 3 is no joke. From the blues, you're hitting about a 175-yard shot. A lot of the afternoons, it's right into this wind, but you can see that berm right in there, right before those bunkers. You don't want to hit it fat. You hit it a little bit short, you go right into those bunkers, so you want to favor the middle back end of this particular green. Hole 4 is one of my favorites just because it's a shorter hole, and from the tee shot, all you're doing is hitting, especially from the blues, you're hitting basically a 6 iron or 7 iron to the middle there to be very conservative. It's a little bit of a dog leg left, but many try to drive this green, but if you hit it straight, you're going to go into that right side, which is really quite a bit of a problem. So you want to just favor the middle of the green, just because this is a little bit of a tricky putt. It could get quite quick for them back to the front. So aim for the middle, you should be just fine. Hole 5 is the first par 5 on the front 9. This is, in all of the par 5s on Cross Creek, they make them attainable, so to get there in 2. For this particular par 5, you want to have a really good tee shot that is going to draw right to left. As you can see here, it's quite ample space to land, but if you hit and overdraw it to the left side, you're definitely going to be laying up there with maybe a pitching wedge to get into the screen. But if you hit it on the right side with a draw, favor the right, you might be left with a 210, 225 yard shot into this particular green. The only issue is that the ball will be a bit above your feet or below your feet, so there aren't many flat spots to get into this green. And as you can see with these trees on the right side, you definitely do not want to try to start to draw too far on that right side, or else you're going to be lost. So favor short in front of the green if you have to, but get a good tee shot here. You got to be aggressive, and you can get here in 2. Six is give some people trouble just because of its length and uphill and into the wind status. So you definitely want to favor the right side of the fairway here if you can, because it slopes right to left. So a good 265, 270 yard poke out there from the blues is just fine right before that first bunker there. And you're left with right before that bunker with a 9-iron, but if you're a little bit further back, 7, quite common for most folks. But with this wind, it's uphill. You might want to choose a 6. The difference is that this green is very difficult to putt for, from back to front, front to back. So you definitely want to go at the pin. If it's in the front, keep it in the front. In hole 7, here's a second par 5, just like the first. It is attainable in 2, but just like the previous hole, you're going to be hitting usually into the wind on this par 5 in the afternoon. And as you can see on the left side there and the right side, it's just no good. So on the left side there's a vineyard, and the right side it's just slope and mountain. So you definitely, but it is a wide fairway, so you can hit a draw or a fade off of this tee. If you hit a fade, most likely you're going to be definitely laying up just because of this wind. But if you hit a draw about 290 yards, 280 right before that bunker, you're still left with a 210, 220 yard shot into the screen. If not, you could just lay up there. I would usually recommend laying up short of that bunker on the left, just because you're still left with a very short wedge into this green. And you should just favor the middle of the green because there's a big slope on the back end of the screen. So if that pin is in the back and you fly it, you could be in trouble. So stay conservative on this one. 8, again, par 3. That's what Cross Creek is known for. This is no exception. This is a beast of a hole just because from the blues you're at 200, from the tips you're at 215, 220. Water on the right, it's just dead on the left. So this one is just an all-out, guts check. You hit to the middle of the screen, you're going to be hitting a 5-iron into the wind, maybe 4-iron, so go after it. Now this could be the second or third hardest hole on the course, 9. It is, again, wind. It is a long tee shot. You want to hit it about 280, 285 from the blues alone, just to get to a decent spot there with a low mid iron. But as you can see, there's a lot of room on the left. There's more rough there on the left, so favor the left side off the tee here. And then it's slightly downhill to this green, but as you can see, bunker right and just lake left. So this approach shot is no joke. I always go aim to the right on that bunker, draw it slightly, and get to the middle of this green and get out of there. Now hole 10, you have two choices here. You want to lay up off the tee right before that bunker because this is downhill. So you're laying up with an iron or like a 205 yard shot right before that bunker, that middle bunker there. You're still left with a wedge, pitching wedge or so into the screen. Or you could use driver and blast it over this bunker and be in some rough. So it's kind of hard to just manage that approach shot. And the green is pretty straightforward, nothing crazy. So depends on your length if you want to take that bunker off. Hole 11, the advice here off the tee, you're going to want to be aggressive. It is uphill, it is long. So from the blues, if you could hit a 285, you're going to be left with a short iron, maybe a 8-iron in, which won't be too bad, but it is quite wide fairway there. So don't try to be too conservative here, because if you lay up a little bit off the tee, you could be left with a 205 yard shot uphill, which quickly makes it too. So you want to be aggressive off the tee, and if that pin's in the back, you do not want to be long because the green slopes from back to front. 12, one of my favorite little par 3s. Again, it's known for the par 3s here. And from the blues, you're hitting, a basic 8-9 iron, about 152 yards. From the tips, about 175. But this is just a gorgeous little hole downhill. Nothing too crazy in terms of slope. The only thing is a lot of people overdraw it on here, and it's just death. It goes off the side there, downhill to the left. So very straightforward par 3, aim to the middle. Okay, 13, probably everybody's least favorite hole in the course, because it is from the tee shot there on the bottom. You're having to hit about a 200 to about a 230 yard shot, depending on the wind, over all of that brush there to a landing area that slopes severe left to right. And with wind, that could catch your ball. It's a downhill strike, very difficult. And then you might be left with a, if you draw it off that, off the tee, you could be left with a 220-yard shot down in a severe downhill up to this green, which is quite large. But that approach shot, I've seen probably about 30% of the people hit this green in regulation, just because it is that slope going into it is no joke. So off the tee, favor a little bit to the left middle of the fairway, and then in the approach shot, just aim to the middle. You just got to get it on the green here. I mean, there's no way around it. Short is okay, and long right is just okay. Hole 14, another gettable par 5. All the par 5s here are attainable. So off the tee, stay aggressive. As you can see, that bunker on the right side, that won't come into play, so don't worry about that. But that bunker on the left, that's going to be your aiming point, just right of that, and just blast it over that bunker with a driver. About a 265, 270 shot from the blues on that right side there, and you should be just fine coming in. That'll leave you about a 200-yard shot. The difference is that this is very uphill to this particular green. Now, you see that long bunker there. If you're going to lay up well before that bunker, it is almost impossible to get that bunker from that bunker to that green, and it's a very, very uphill. You can't see it from here, but it is very uphill to that green. So there's a big mound in the middle of the green. So if you're going to miss it short right, then you have an easier chip to wherever that pin is going to be. You just don't want to miss it left. Hole 15, not easy, just because you're going into the wind. It's a little bit of a blind shot. You can't see the pin. So from the tee box, you're going to aim at that particular bunker in the middle of the green. If you hit short of that, it'll kick to the right, and then you're left with like a 7-iron, 8-iron in. So it's definitely a driver hole, but the approach shot is a bit blind. So they have a longer flag to get to this green, and it slopes from front to back. So if you don't have a lot of spin, you want to aim to the front edge of this green so it can roll out to it. But there's a lot of room to the left and some room to the right. So, but you just don't want to hit it short, because then you're hitting a kind of a flop shot onto the screen. So you want to get it to the middle, front middle of the screen at all costs. You do not want to be short. Many people complain about 16 just because the tee shot, you're hitting a little bit up through the chute there, and then your fairway slopes severely left to right. So you ideally want to hit a draw right into that slope, and it'll kind of stop there. And off the blues, you definitely only want to hit maybe a 200 or 185-yard shot. From the tips, about 225. But that'll leave you with a little 8-iron, 9-iron onto this green. The green is, it's sloping from right to left. So if that pin's on the left side, you don't want to miss it right, because that leaves you a very difficult putt. Easy to 3-putt that green. So just hit it to the middle of the green if you can. '17 is awesome if you're hitting it from the tips. I recommend, if there's no one behind you, even if you're hitting from the whites or the blues, get back to the tips to hit this one. But you're hitting through a chute, you're right in the middle of all these trees, the mountain is behind you, you're hitting against it, you see the ball just flying onto the screen. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous view. It's a short iron, nothing too crazy, but you don't want to hit anything short, because it'll go into that berm right there on the right, or in that bunker. So you definitely want to aim to the middle of the screen, even if the pin is in the front. Oh, good old 18. Again, probably one of the harder holes for most golfers. For the blues, I like to hit an iron, hit it about 225 right to the top of this because it's going to start, it's going to like dogleg right quite sharply. And it's uphill on your tee shot, then downhill on your second shot. But that downhill, you're hitting over all berm, all hell down there into this green. So it is a very, very daunting approach shot. As you can see from here, you're hitting a big high cut off of those bunkers or hit high draw off of those trees. And you're usually hitting from 7 to 5 iron into this particular green, so which makes it a little bit difficult. But it's a big green, so you want to aim at that flag. If it's in the front, get to the front. If it's in the back, you're going to definitely want to get to the back. But as you can see back here, you don't want to duff it or hit it fat from the fairway to the green.